but there's just something missing. It feels awkward. You can also see he's nervous. I mean, it's a good question. And she didn't ask the elephant in the room, but she kind of did, right?
He talked about being a storyteller. He said, I have so many multiple personalities. I'm a storyteller. But Blake was given a mic today.
I like your movies. You're funny. I'm going to try to ignore all the other stuff. I still want to see Deadpool, but you, man, yeah, I'm disappointed.
What if I told you that everything you thought you knew about Hollywood's favorite couple might be a lie? What if behind every charming Instagram post, every witty red carpet moment, every carefully crafted headline about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, there was a truth that no one was talking about? You see, they've always seemed perfect. Too perfect. Ryan's the funny, relatable star who never takes himself too seriously. Blake's the effortlessly stunning, down-to-earth wife who seems like she walked straight out of a fairy tale. Together, they're the golden couple, untouchable, unbreakable, and adored by millions. But here's the thing. Sometimes the more perfect something seems, the more cracks it's hiding underneath. And last week, one of those cracks split wide open for the entire world to see. It happened at one of the most prestigious events in Hollywood, the Time 100 Creative Summit, a place where brilliance shines, where creators are celebrated, and where the spotlight is meant to highlight not just the success of individuals, but the people who helped them get there. Ryan stood tall on that stage, basking in the glow of admiration. He shared stories, jokes, insights about his career. He did everything we expect from Ryan Reynolds. But then, something felt off. Very off. Because while he talked about his journey, his brand, his struggles, and his victories, there was one person completely missing from the narrative. One person you'd expect him to mention, if not celebrate. Blake. Not once did he mention his wife. Not once did he acknowledge the woman who's been by his side for years, through every business deal, every blockbuster success, every high-profile moment. And for fans who followed them, who've seen their playful online banter, their public declarations of love.
He didn't actually say anything about Blake Lively, and that's kind of the point. Ryan Reynolds' Hollywood PR machine is in full effect, appearing in both The Hollywood Reporter and the Time 100 Creative Summit.
This silence wasn't just strange, it was deafening. Why didn't he talk about her? Why now? And what does Blake's sudden disappearance from social media right after that event really mean? This wasn't just a forgotten shout-out or an innocent omission. This was something bigger. And today, we're pulling back the curtain on what could be the beginning of the end, or just the latest chapter in a carefully controlled Hollywood narrative. Let's rewind to that fateful day. The Time 100 Creative Summit, an event known for spotlighting the most innovative minds in entertainment, business, and media. For someone like Ryan Reynolds, it was a chance to shine, to speak his truth, to connect with fans and peers on a deeper level. The room was packed with industry insiders, fans, journalists, all waiting to hear from one of Hollywood's most beloved stars. And Ryan? He didn't disappoint, at least, not at first. He walked on stage, confident, casual, flashing that trademark grin that makes headlines and melts hearts. He dove into stories about his early days in Hollywood, about the creative risks he's taken, about the brands he's built from the ground up. He joked about fame, about failure, about finding his voice in a world that demands perfection. It was vintage Ryan, funny, sharp, self-deprecating. But as the talk went on, something became obvious. There was no we, only I. No mention of us, only me. In past interviews, Ryan has always included Blake in his narrative. Whether he's joking about her keeping him grounded or praising her as a creative partner, she's always been there, in his words, in his stories, in his public life. But not this time. This time, it was like she didn't exist. Not a single acknowledgement of the woman who's helped him build an empire. No nod to the partner who's walked every red carpet by his side. Not even a throwaway joke or casual shout-out. And this wasn't just an oversight, it was deliberate. You could feel the energy shift in the room. Fans noticed, the media noticed. The internet lit up with questions. Why didn't he mention Blake? At first, some tried to brush it off. Maybe he was just focused on his personal journey. Maybe he wanted to highlight his individual achievements. But the more people watched, the clearer it became. This wasn't just about him. It was about making sure she wasn't part of this story. Because let's not forget, the Time 100 Creative Summit isn't just another event. It's a platform where stars reflect on the people who've helped them rise, where they celebrate the collaborators, the support systems, the partnerships that make success possible. And Ryan, he used that platform to go solo. What was supposed to be a celebration of creativity turned into something colder, something more calculated. And the message was clear. This moment wasn't about Blake. It was about Ryan, alone.
What the headlines are saying about you. So how has that media attention impacted your brand, your businesses?
Well,
I mean, it's a good question.
you know, no, it's like Tina Fey says, if you're feeling good about yourself, just go online. You know.
I mean, that's true, but of course he has to position himself right away as the victim.
Now, you might think the silence was bad enough, but what came next? That's what really set the internet on fire. Because Ryan didn't just ignore Blake, he mocked her in front of a global audience. It started like any other Ryan Reynolds moment. A bit of sarcasm, a clever twist, a joke that seemed harmless, but there's a fine line between playful and cruel, and this time, Ryan crossed it. Midway through his talk, after being asked about how he balances creativity with his personal life, Ryan laughed and said, "I carry most of the creative weight in our household. It's exhausting." The audience chuckled. They always do. But for anyone who's been watching closely, that joke wasn't just about creativity. It was about Blake. Let's break this down. Blake Lively isn't just Ryan Reynolds' wife. She's a powerhouse. She's co-founded brands, starred in blockbuster films, and been instrumental in building their image as Hollywood's golden couple. They've partnered in ventures like Aviation Gin, Mint Mobile Promotions, and countless public campaigns. And yet, in that moment, Ryan painted her as dead weight, as someone who rides his coattails, as someone who's not pulling her share of the load. To the casual listener, it was just another quip. But to fans, to those who know how hard Blake has worked and how deeply involved she's been in Ryan's success, it was a low blow. What made it worse was how he said it, with that signature smirk, that cocky, "oh, it's just a joke" tone that lets him say anything and get away with it. But this time, people didn't let it slide, because behind every joke is a hint of truth, and this one felt like it was meant to sting. You could almost feel the shift in the room. The laughter faded faster than usual. Online, fans began dissecting every word, every gesture, every glance from that moment. Was he joking? Was that really about Blake? Or was he trying to tell us something?
He has just been publicly humiliating Justin Baldoni as soon as he could, as many times as he could, and using as many A-list actors as he could.
Lively shared the couple's plans for the property in South Salem. Of course it's Salem. Isn't that where witches go?
And the more you watch it, the more it doesn't feel funny anymore. It feels personal. It feels pointed. Because why, out of all the things he could have said, would he choose to minimize Blake's role in front of the world? Why now? Why like this? Now here's where things get really strange. After that summit, after Ryan's pointed jokes and his solo spotlight, Blake did something completely out of character. She disappeared. No social media posts, no comments, no likes, no cryptic stories, nothing. And if you followed Blake for any amount of time, you know that's not how she handles things. She's known for clapping back, fast. Whenever the tabloids take a shot at her or rumors about their marriage start flying, Blake's the first to jump in. A sassy tweet here, a cheeky Instagram caption there. She knows how to control the narrative. But this time, radio silence. It was like someone hit pause on her entire online presence. And the timing? Too perfect to be a coincidence. The moment Ryan went off script, Blake went dark. No witty photos with the kids, no behind-the-scenes snaps of her latest projects, no supportive posts about Ryan's summit speech, just nothing. And people noticed. Fans started asking, "Where's Blake? Why hasn't she said anything? Is she okay?" Some thought maybe she was hurt, genuinely blindsided by what Ryan said. Others suspected something more strategic. Maybe her PR team advised her to stay quiet, to let the storm blow over. But either way, her silence was loud. It wasn't just absence, it was intentional. Because when you think about it, Blake disappearing from the spotlight after years of controlling her narrative is a huge red flag. And here's the thing about silence in Hollywood. It's rarely just silence. It's a move. It's calculated. It's a way to say everything without saying anything. And while Blake said nothing, the internet filled the gap. Speculation exploded. Did they fight after the summit? Was Blake embarrassed? Was this the start of a bigger split? But more than that, people felt the shift. The power couple who once thrived on being seen, on being relatable, suddenly became mysterious. And in Hollywood, mystery always means one thing: something's about to break. But if you think the silence was strange, wait until you hear what fans uncovered next. Because while Blake said nothing, her actions told a very different story. And the internet? They didn't miss a thing.
And when I do these talks, sometimes the last one I did, I mentioned that the greatest superpower I ever had in my life, I'm not talking about just my career or anything, was knowing who I am.
Who is he? He's the guy who clicked when he read the negative and the positive article about himself. So which was it? You're not either of those, okay? Well, how did you know who you are?
Now, you already know how the internet works. Give people a mystery, and they'll turn into detectives overnight. And Blake's sudden silence, Ryan's strange jokes, that was all the internet needed to start digging. It started small. Just a few comments on Reddit and Twitter, people wondering why Blake hadn't posted, why Ryan seemed off. But within hours, it exploded into full-blown speculation. Fans began rewatching the summit footage, frame by frame. They zoomed in on Ryan's expressions, analyzing every smirk, every pause, every twitch. TikTok body language experts started pointing out micro-expressions, subtle signs of stress, deflection, and, most importantly, guilt. And then came the Instagram clues. You see, Blake didn't just go silent. She made small, almost invisible moves. Posts she'd previously liked, especially ones showing her and Ryan as the perfect couple. Unliked. Photos of the two of them together. Still there, but no new interactions. Comments on Ryan's recent posts? Gone. To the average person, these changes would go unnoticed. But to dedicated fans, these were red flags. One Reddit thread pointed out that Blake had quietly unliked posts from as far back as 2021. Posts that once seemed like proof of a rock-solid marriage now looked like PR relics, staged moments in a story that was starting to unravel. And the more fans dug, the deeper it got. A video from last year's Met Gala where Blake seemed tense as Ryan joked. A behind-the-scenes interview where she rolled her eyes when he interrupted her. Past interviews where she smiled, but it wasn't reaching her eyes. Suddenly, people started asking, were there cracks in the facade this whole time? Was this just the first time they slipped up? Even more shocking, some fans speculated that this might not have been an accident at all. What if Blake's silence and Ryan's pointed jokes were part of the plan? A calculated move to stir up drama, drive engagement, and control the narrative before it spun out of their hands. Because let's not kid ourselves. Blake and Ryan aren't just a couple, they're a brand. And brands thrive on attention. Let's talk about Ryan Reynolds, the man behind the smirk. To most people, Ryan's just a funny guy, the lovable goofball from Deadpool, the sarcastic hero who never takes himself too seriously. But if you look closer, you'll see something much sharper. Because Ryan Reynolds isn't just an actor, he's a PR genius. Everything you see, planned, precise, calculated. Let's break it down. Aviation Gin wasn't just a random business venture, it was a masterclass in personal branding, turning Ryan's relatable persona into profit. Mint Mobile, same deal. Ryan isn't just the face, he's the puppet master, steering the company's image to reflect his own. Every Instagram post, every candid family moment, every self-deprecating joke, it's all part of a strategy. He's not winging it, he's crafting it. And here's where it gets interesting. Because at the Time 100 Creative Summit, Ryan didn't just forget to mention Blake, he made a choice, a branding decision, a decision to center himself, to remind the world that he's the creative force, the risk-taker, the visionary. And Blake? In that moment, she was just a shadow. Now, to some, this might seem like a simple misstep, but for someone as calculated as Ryan, it's unlikely. This is the guy who once promoted a gin brand by pretending to hate it, just to get people talking. The guy who turns interviews into viral moments with a single off-the-cuff remark that's anything but off the cuff. So when he joked about carrying all the creative weight, it wasn't just for laughs. It was a move, a power play. Because in the world of Hollywood PR, controlling the narrative is everything. And Ryan, he's the king of it. But here's the twist. Sometimes, when you control the narrative too tightly, people start to notice. And that's exactly what's happening now. Fans are questioning the persona, the perfection, the brand that Ryan has built. And they're wondering, is this guy really the charming, funny husband we thought he was? Or has he just been playing a role all along? But while Ryan's out here steering the spotlight, there's someone else who's been left in the shadows. And when you look at Blake's role in all of this, you'll realize she's not just a bystander, she's part of the story too. A much bigger part than he'd like you to believe.
And to know it wasn't just Justin, Tim Miller, others, and it seems like Ryan came around and apologized to them. Ryan and Tim apparently are better now, but man, this is tough to watch.
So here's the thing. While Ryan was out there owning the spotlight, Blake wasn't just sitting at home watching it unfold like the rest of us. She was a part of this empire, a big part. And for years, she wasn't just Ryan Reynolds' wife. She was his partner, his equal, his co-creator in everything they've built together. Let's not pretend Blake's just a background player. She starred in hit films, founded her own ventures, and helped craft the very image that's made them Hollywood royalty. Blake has been the face of luxury fashion on red carpets, drawing in millions of dollars in sponsorship and deals. She's co-designed and co-promoted Betty Buzz, her own drink line, which, surprise, was launched alongside Ryan's business moves. And let's not forget, she's been there, step for step, as Ryan took aviation gin from a niche product to a household name. This wasn't just Ryan grinding behind the scenes while Blake posed for photos. This was a team, or at least, that's what we thought. Because after that summit, after that joke, Blake didn't just fade into the background. She was erased. Think about it. What message does it send when someone who stood beside you for years is suddenly invisible in your success story? When someone who's fought for the brand, for the family, for the relationship is suddenly left out of the picture? Was it a slip? Or a sign? Because here's where things get tricky. Blake's always been savvy. She knows how to play the PR game. She knows when to post, when to pull back, when to make a headline, and when to avoid one. But this time, she didn't fight for her place in the narrative. Why? Maybe she's tired. Tired of smiling through every joke. Tired of standing next to a man who takes all the credit. Or maybe, just maybe, she's planning something of her own. Because sometimes, when you step out of the spotlight, it's not because you've given up, it's because you're getting ready to take it back. Now, here's the real question that's got everyone talking. Are Ryan and Blake a real couple, or just a Hollywood illusion? Let's face it, we've seen this story before. Two stars, picture perfect in public, unraveling behind closed doors. The constant appearances, the carefully crafted social media posts, the "we're just like you" brand of relatability. It all feels a little too scripted, doesn't it? And with Ryan and Blake, the signs are everywhere. Their chemistry, flawless. Their banter, always on point. Their image, impeccable. Too impeccable. Because when you think about it, how many real couples actually live like this? Posting birthday roasts instead of heartfelt messages, making jokes about each other's flaws for the world to laugh at, appearing in ads, selling not just products, but themselves. It's like every moment is designed to keep the audience watching. And maybe that's the point. Maybe Blake and Ryan aren't just a couple. They're a business. A brand built on being the quirky, lovable, untouchable Hollywood pair. And when you look at it from that angle, things start to make sense. Ryan's summit speech, a rebranding moment. Blake's silence, a strategic retreat. The internet's obsession with their every move, fuel for the fire. Because in the world of celebrity PR, there's one rule: stay relevant, no matter what. So, is this tension real? Is the silence, the erasure, the awkwardness between them just a blip in an otherwise perfect relationship? Or is it the first crack in a carefully constructed image that's finally starting to crumble? Are we watching a couple drift apart? Or just two professionals playing out the next phase of a never-ending performance? Because if Ryan and Blake are really just a brand, then every move they make isn't about love or betrayal. It's about business. And business is ruthless. But whether this is real drama or a strategic move, there's one thing no one can deny: the fallout is coming. And when it does, it won't just affect their image. It might just change everything. So, where does this all go from here? Because whether this is a genuine rift or a carefully planned PR stunt, one thing's for sure: the fallout is already in motion. And it's not just happening behind closed doors. Let's start with what we've already seen. Since Ryan's speech and Blake's sudden silence, the media storm hasn't slowed down. Headlines everywhere, speculation mounting, fans turning on notifications just to catch a glimpse of their next move. And yet, nothing. No joint statement, no public appearance, no Instagram post to put the rumors to rest. Now, normally, in situations like this, you'd expect one of two things. Option 1, the classic celebrity fix. Post a cute family photo, throw in a cheeky caption, and laugh off the drama. Remind everyone that everything's fine. Option 2, the damage control tour. Exclusive interviews, heartfelt confessions, a well-timed date night caught by paparazzi. But here, we've got neither. And that silence, that's dangerous.
You've intentionally positioned yourself as the face of your many businesses, which obviously has a huge upside. You can feature Deadpool in these commercials. People know who you are. The downside is you cannot always control what the internet is saying about you.
Because the longer they wait, the more people talk, the more people dig, and the more fragile their perfect image becomes. But here's the thing. Some believe this is exactly what they want. That the silence isn't panic, it's precision. That Blake and Ryan are sitting back, watching the chaos unfold, knowing that every headline, every theory, every "are they breaking up?" post is just fuel. Because at the end of the day, in Hollywood, attention is currency, and right now, they're cashing in. But let's not pretend this strategy doesn't come at a cost. The longer the silence, the more it feels like something is really wrong. Fans who once defended them are starting to doubt. Supporters who believed in their love story are now asking the hard questions. And if this is all part of a PR plan, it's risky. Because playing with public perception, that's a game with no guarantees. One wrong move, and the entire empire they've built, every brand, every endorsement, every carefully curated post could start to crumble. But maybe that's the point. Maybe Blake is ready to step out of Ryan's shadow. Maybe Ryan's done playing the perfect husband. Maybe the power couple we've all looked up to isn't interested in keeping up appearances anymore. Or maybe, just maybe, this is only the beginning. So now we're left with the question that no one, not even their most loyal fans, can answer for sure. Is this real, or just another chapter in a perfectly crafted Hollywood script? Because from the outside, it looks like the story of Ryan and Blake has shifted from romance to strategy, from love to leverage, from reality to performance. And honestly, who could blame them? In an industry that devours relationships for entertainment, staying on top means constantly reinventing, constantly captivating, constantly controlling the narrative. But here's what makes this different. For years, they've built a brand on being relatable, on being the couple that jokes, that plays, that loves in a way we all wish we could. They've let us in, made us feel like we were part of the story. And now, that same openness, the very thing that made them stars, is turning into their biggest vulnerability. Because when you invite the world into your love story, the world doesn't just watch, it judges. It picks sides, it waits for you to slip. And whether Blake and Ryan are facing a real breakdown or just another calculated pivot, one truth remains: the illusion of perfection is gone. Now we see the cracks. Now we hear the silence. Now we wonder, what happens next? Will they come back stronger, with a new narrative, a new project, a new way to keep us hooked? Or will this be the start of a slow public unraveling? Either way, one thing's for sure. The world is watching, and in Hollywood, that's the most powerful position you can be in. So, what do you think? Are Blake and Ryan pulling the ultimate PR move, or is this the end of their perfect couple facade? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like this video if you're as hooked on this drama as we are, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the secrets of Hollywood's biggest stars. Because trust me, this story, it's far from over.